So let's congratulate the first three teams. So we really struggled with this next selection because, again, we had so many fantastic presenters, and we would like to borrow a phrase or colloquialism delivered that we know well, which is, give a man a fish and he can eat for a day, but teach a man to fish and he can enjoy abundance for life. So without further ado, Arizona State University, Ubuntu.
Okay, so hi everybody, I'm Mariama, this is Kamaldeen, and this is Adnan. And our company is called Ubuntu, and we would promote refugee livelihood and self-reliance through sorghum, a staple cereal. The reason why we have taken this initiative is because we are Africans and we have first-hand experience with struggling communities in Africa. And that brings us to the story of Atem. Meet Mr. Atem, a father of 7 and a South Sudanese sorghum farmer. He farms to sustain his family. However, as a result of the civil war in South Sudan, he was forced to flee to Kakuma refugee camp in Kenya. In Kenya, he relies primarily on food aid to feed his family. But as a farmer and a father, he wanted the dignity to be able to provide for his family himself. So he planted sorghum on a model farm allocated to him by the UNHCR. And as a result, he was able to make 4 bags per acre of land, which he kept to feed his family. So he was so proud of himself, and he likes to go to his farm every day. But what if we provide him with viable seeds? What if we provide him with fertilizers? And what if we train him? With this, he has a potential to not only feed his family, but generate some income to live an independent life. So if you give Atem food, you feed him for a day. But if you provide him with quality farm inputs, you feed him for a lifetime. And this has the potential to create a ripple effect on his family and the 163,000 refugees in his camp. So what is the problem? The problem is that the yield of sorghum in Africa is declining. And for example, South Sudan used to be the leading producer of sorghum in the world. But now this is not the case anymore because of the displacement of these farmers, poor farming techniques, and also this leads to food shortage, which all compounds to cause a heavy reliance on food aid. So our goal is to stimulate the production of sorghum in refugee-stricken areas. So I'm sure you're all wondering, why sorghum? So sorghum is the #1 staple in Africa. It is the 5th most important staple in the world. It is drought resistant. And when we observe, most of these refugees are in severe drought areas. It's highly nutritious. More than 925 million undernourished people in Asia and Africa rely on this as their main source of staple. But ironically, more than 90% of sorghum is actually imported to these areas as food aid in refugees camps, especially in Africa. So the solution is simple. Provide the farmers with the incentives. With this, they'll maximize their yield and generate some income. So that's where we come in. So this is our model. And for example, with Atem, he was making an average of 4 to 6 bags per acre of land. And we want him to make 25 bags per acre of land, which is the maximum yield for sorghum. So what we will do is we'll provide him with a starter kit, which we call the 1 acre kit. And that contains fertilizers, viable seeds, and among others. There are other things that will be in it. And we will also train him. And with this, we believe he will make 25 bucks per acre of land, which we will buy the excess from him, sell to manufacturers, generate some income to sustain our model.
So here's how it works. The $1 million from Hult prize will be invested in training the farmers, producing and providing them with the 1 acre kit. With this 1 acre kit, with an investment of as little as $150, a farmer is making 4 to 6 bags per acre can now make 25 bags. That's over 200% increase in his yield. In addition, we provide them with immediate market system. We buy a larger percent of this produce from them. That means they generate immediate revenue and also over 200% increase in profit. Now we have so many sorghum in our own Ubuntu stores around. We're going to sell this sorghum to, we've identified big and a growing market for sorghum from different companies. For example, the brewery companies, the food companies, and also the oil companies, because research has shown that sorghum actually produces 1/3 of the ethanol needed for fuel production. After selling this sorghum, we get money back, and that keeps our whole company sustainable. With this, by 2022, we are assured we will have impact on over 1 million refugee farmers across Africa who have direct impact on their own families and the communities around them. What we're saying is, by 2022, we'll have 10 million refugees. We won't call them refugees again. We'll have 10 million people who no longer rely on food aid. So our solution is a long-term solution, and it's a transferable solution because the likes of Mr. Atem, who is a Sudanese in Kenya, can easily go back to Sudan and also implement this skill. And here is our group of great minds ready to, and passionately ready to execute this project. Thank you.
Given the fact that refugees are essentially displaced, where are they gaining access to the land?
So, most refugees. Most of the refugee camps, the UNHCR, after realizing that these refugees have farming potentials, they have allocated lands to some of these refugees. So, for example, there is the Kalobey settlement in Kakuma in Kenya. And they have allocated 600 acres of land to this settlement. And also, the same applies to Chad, where the UNHCR has allocated plots of land to people who are refugees who are interested in farming.
Who is spending the $150? Is it the farmer? The farmer buying the kit?
Yes. So this is how it works. We see $150 as a very big money if we are going to have a one-time payment. But when we break it down as $20 per month, then it's actually easy for this refugee to pay back. And also, we're saying sorghum seed can actually grow in less than 3 months. Within 3 months, we are assuring him of immediate produce, and also he's going to sell back to us. So within 3 months, he actually pays half of the money, and we buy as a negotiation. He can always pay back.